20 weeks down, 6 weeks to go. The Royals' wild ride has been reduced to 3 more homestands and 3 more road trips. After an intense and emotional 5-game series against first-place Detroit, a 3-game series against the last-place White Sox begins tonight with very little room for error. Royals baseball is next on Fox Sports Kansas City.
Stadium on a beautiful Tuesday night as a 7-game homestand begins tonight with 3 against the Chicago White Sox. Hi, everyone. Welcome back to the ballpark. I'm Ryan Lefevre. And of those 7 games, 6 will be against teams below 500. In fact, the Royals will play 16 of their next 17 against teams below 500. And if you're worried about a letdown, remember, shortly after the All-Star break, the Royals played 12 straight against losing teams, and they went 10-2. And they begin tonight with Ervin Santana on the mound. He has been spectacular against the Central Division. His only loss was against the White Sox. That was his first start as a Royal. He is 4-0 since then against the Central, and that ERA is the best for any starter in the Central Division against their own division. And as always, we welcome in Rex Hudler. And while Santana has been great against the Central, he's only been very good against everybody else.
I'm telling you, but you know what, though? He's been so consistent. One of the most consistent Royals starters of the year. So what does that tell you? The players are coming to the ballpark believing they can win. They know what Irvin's going to give them. He's going to give them magic. And what magic has been this year? That slider. Falling off the table, but he throws strikes. He eats up innings. Everything you want in a starter, Irvin has provided for the Royals this season. And his team, they just believe they can win. So really, consistency is everything you strive for. Whether you're a position player or whether you're a manager trying to help your team find consistency in the 3 areas, that's the big word of the night. Stay down, get some run support, use that defense, and just win, baby. Way to go, Irvin.
And the Royals might give him some run support if they swing the bats like they did during the last homestand when they went deep 8 times.
over 3 weeks and different lineups. No more Alex Rios, no more Jake Peavy, no more Miguel Tejada. Lorenzo Cain is hurt, and now it's guys like Justin Maxwell getting it done for the Royals, and he will be back out there off of the bereavement list and in right field tonight. Joel Goldberg here in right field at Kauffman Stadium, and the one constant for the Royals outfield this year, of course, has been Alex Gordon, in left just about every single game. But they have had a handful of center fielders and right fielders, 6 different right fielders, 5 different center fielders. The latest to play center field, Emilio Bonifacio, and Bonifacio will be out there for his 3rd Royal start in center field, his first at Kauffman Stadium as a Royal, but he did play center field here earlier this year for the Blue Jays. Back in April, the first game he started at second, moved to short when Jose Reyes got hurt. The second game of that series, he was in right field, and the third in center field. He said what he remembers, lots of room to run, which he likes. He also says feeling much more comfortable with his new teammates and ready to go in his home Royals debut. Irvin Santana always seems to be cool and comfortable. He takes the hill next. Baseball is coming up on Fox Sports Kansas City.
By the Missouri Lottery. Play the Powerball and Mega Million Scratchers game to win $100,000 or more. And by your Kansas City Chevy dealer, the official vehicle of the Kansas City Royals. Warmer, but still very pleasant for mid to late August. Got up to 90 today, maybe, and it's supposed to be that way all week with plenty of sunshine. Tonight's game is brought to you in high definition by Time Warner Cable, the official TV, internet, and home phone provider of the Kansas City Royals. What a difference. Last year, the White Sox were in first place more than any other team in the division, even though Detroit ended up winning the Central. And this year, Robin Ventura and the White Sox have spent most of the year in last place. And they come into tonight's game, 25 games below 500, and at the top of the list this year, Hud, as far as problems for them, a lack of offense.
That's right. But lately, though, Ryan, they're playing with a lot more intensity. And they won 3 straight games and 9 of the last 14, so they're not going to be easy. But with the addition of this kid right here, Avisal Garcia, they've got some new life there. He's got a good, strong throwing arm. He's really fast for as big as he is, and he's got a little bit of pop. So that lineup there, also watch out for Gordon Beckham. Alexi Ramirez has been hot. So this is not going to be a pushover, even though this team is below 500. And Irvin Santana, man, has he been consistent. We talked about that in the open, about how good he's been. His slider's been his finish-off pitch. 125 strikeouts in 161 innings. Look at the walks. A minuscule 38 walks. He throws strikes, he gets after it, and he's only given up 18 home runs, which is very impressive for Irvin. Okay, when he is down in the zone, even though he's a fly ball pitcher at times, the defense has been spectacular. Now Justin Maxwell is going to be back, but Bonifacio hit in center field. He shows that he can go get him. We know Alex can. What guy out there on defense playing behind Irvin Santana will make the play of the game, Ryan? We don't know, but you could put them all in a hat and pull one guy out. That's how talented they are around that diamond.
Who won't make a big defensive play tonight? Maybe that's an easier question.
I think it is, because they're all good. And, you know, this is really something for Irvin and the Royals. They're playing for something. This means something this late in the season. It's not just another game to pass it by here. They have some intensity. They got to continue to run the bases, play fundamentally sound baseball, catch the ball, but pitch it. It all starts with Irvin.
If the season ended today, 3.19 would be a career best for Irvin Santana. And the change from last year is dramatic. He finished last year with an ERA quite a ways over 5. And as far as the largest decreases this year, he has the biggest, 1.97. So almost 2 points lower than he was last year in his final season with the Angels. Alejandro De Aza looks at a fastball for a strike. And Santana, last time he pitched was here on Wednesday, and he was a strike machine early in the game. 34 of his first 42 pitches were strikes.
You know, Ryan, and that's one of the keys. Getting ahead of guys. First pitch strikes. That really sets the tone. And he's confident. He's changed uniforms for the first time in his career. And they gave him a prominent role in that starting rotation. 2 behind big game James Shields. Makes him feel like he's been pitching consistent and good.
Royals have pitched De Aza consistent and good this year. Jamie Carroll will run into foul ground and make a nice play. So there you go. The game begins with a good defensive play, and that's not the way De Aza wanted to get started tonight. One down in the top of the first.
Nah, and you might say, oh, that was a routine play. No. I got to disagree with you. This is very tough. Look at Carroll. He's looking down once, twice, and when that wall's coming close to you like that, and the ball's moving back towards the playing field, that's not routine. He made it look routine.
So that makes De Aza 9 out of 50 against the Royals this year. And now Gordon Beckham takes inside, and suddenly Gordon Beckham, who has missed several games this year with a broken left wrist, he's hitting .301. So we're talking about turnarounds with Santana. Beckham hit .234 last year for the White Sox. 1 ball, 1 strike.
And you know, with the passing of the guards here with the White Sox and Paul Konerko mainly, even though Paulie, you know, he still has some production left in him, but he may be towards the end of his career. This kid Gordon Beckham here could be the new captain next year.
And that's hit well to left field. Alex is all the way back, and it will drop in the bullpen for Beckham's 4th home run of the year.
3rd home run now off of Irvin Santana in his career. Sure enough, they're talking this kid up. This is 4th home run overall in the season. Gave us a ball right down the middle. Irvin sometimes, for a guy that's not known for his power, he'll go ahead and challenge you. And when you do, give the kid some credit. He got the back underside of that baseball.
Here's another hot hitter, Alexei Ramirez. Both he and Beckham had been just kind of fading away offensively the past few years. And Ramirez, who has been mostly a number 2 hitter, number 7, number 8. And because of some injuries and lack of production, Robin Ventura said, you know, I'm going to bat this guy 3rd. And wouldn't you know, he took off after batting 3rd.
Give a guy a big role, and sometimes they rise to the occasion.
And he's got the potential. Nice long arms, legs. He's got leverage. So whenever he gets his arms extended, he can drive the ball pretty far.
Back-to-back sliders. So Santana comes back from the home run and strikes out Ramirez, 2 down in the first inning.
That's his signature pitch this year, staying underneath the bats.
That's the part of his game that's impressed me the most. And now we've seen him make all of his starts as opposed to here and there when he was with the Angels. But his ability to just brush things off. And now Adam Dunn. That's into deep left center. Wrong ballpark. Bonifacio runs it down on the track. So Santana got help from his defense twice on the outs to De Aza and Dunn, but the White Sox take a 1-0 lead. And after a 5-gamer in Detroit, and Ned is still without Mike Moustakas, they hope to see him back tomorrow. So Jamie Carroll will lead off at third base. And, of course, the Royals are still without Lorenzo Cain.
Yep, that's too bad. But you know what, though? You got to make it with what you have. Hopefully, the top of the order and the bottom of the order, Chris Getz, those guys will get together, and they'll steal off John Danks. And they'll get on base and use that energy that they have. And that's really the strong point of the Royals, is the way they run the bases. But they're going to have to pick up in their timely hits department. Haven't had a lot of timely hits.
0-2 on Carroll. John Danks, 28 years old, had a pretty serious left shoulder surgery last year. Only pitched in 9 games in 2012, and this is just his 17th start this year.
And so far, not too bad, though. His strikeouts are a little bit high. That's not too bad for 103 innings. 22 home runs, though, to keep that ball in the yard. Right-handers have hit 15 home runs off of him. Lefties 7.
1-2 on Jamie Carroll. Here are some numbers that were most appealing to the Royals when they acquired Jamie Carroll from the Twins, and what he's done against left-hand pitching this year. He's a completely different hitter against the lefties, and he really chokes up with 2 strikes. And now evens the count at 2-2.
And what the Royals are going to see from John Danks is a fastball that won't go much more than 92. He won't throw it that hard. He's more upper 80s, low 90s, relies on a sinker. He'll cut his fastball at times. Big curve. And changeups. Now his changeups can be hit if he's not locating. If it's up in the zone, that pitch can get hit. And defending behind him this evening for the White Sox, they got a new catcher. This kid Bagley, he's not too bad. They like his future. Short, stocky kid, got a little bit of pop, but he's got some intestinal fortitude. They like him, what he's got. He's a tough kid. Hopefully he can learn how to call balls and strikes at the big league level and really help them offensively.
Nice curveball in for a strike to Eric Hosmer, who hit well against the Tigers. Went .333 with 2 home runs, 2 impressive home runs in that day-night doubleheader, and he walked 4 times, and now he cracks his bat, but he'll get a base hit with 1 out.
You know, I love the pregame show, postgame show. Joel Goldberg and Monty, they do a great job. And they were interviewing Pedro Grifol, and they were asking him about Hosmer and how, he's been going and do they like his power. And Grifol said, yeah, as long as he's doing some damage. And I went, okay, doing some damage. That means turning that ball around and hurting the opponent by knocking runs in and taking aggressive swings. And that's what he's been doing.
On the ground to Ramirez. And Danks is out of the first inning, which is 8 pitches, as Billy grounds into a double play. At the end of 1, the White Sox lead 1-0. Answers poll for tonight. Which American League team is having the most disappointing year? All 3 of those not where they hope to be in the standings. Maybe another way to phrase it, which owner is most angry of these 3?
Oh, man.
As far as money being spent.
That's interesting.
I'm going to vote for the guy out in Southern California as far as most frustrated owner.
Oh, especially since it's his team and he's making the decisions now. Sometimes owners get a little bit ahead of themselves, and he's a smart guy. But when you have a GM and a manager, that's usually who makes the baseball decisions. So the Angels, hang with them. You invest all that money in a couple of hitters, and forget about your pitching staff. You lose. Blue Jays, they invested a lot in new personnel, a lot of new players. They had high expectations for their team too, and that's a big hang with them. Team chemistry sometimes is not bought, it's developed internally. I think the Blue Jays, though, really had their sights high in the East.
Pulled foul by Konerko off the railing. 2-2. Well, let's see how the Royals pitch Paul Konerko, because up until this past weekend, the Royals had really pitched Miguel Cabrera and Prince Fielder well. And they played big roles in that series. And now the Royals have only allowed Konerko to drive in 2 runs all year against them. And we're talking about the guy with the most RBIs against the Royals ever. 143, and he gets one inside the bag and down into the corner. He's not running well. He's going to try for 2 on Alex after a little hesitation around the bag. And he's in with a leadoff double.
I mean, he was out in front and fooled on that breaking ball, but he was able to keep his hands back and just throw it down that line. Nice, easy, short swing. He barely even swung hard at all. Look at that. Just kind of laid it out there, and now he knows who's in left field. And when you have a slight hesitation like that, you may get thrown out. But the ball was hit slowly, and Gordon couldn't get to it in time.
So it brings up Avisail Garcia. First time we've seen him in a White Sox uniform, and the first time that he sees an Irvin Santana fastball zip by his eyelids.
Yep.
So if he wasn't fully awake when he was digging in before that pitch, I think he's up now.
I think so. That's definite chin music there that woke him up. And at 6'4", at 240 pounds, he's the kind of player that the White Sox were looking to for the future. He's got a good future ahead. Runs extremely well for a big man.
Off the end of the bat, and that drops into center field. Konerko will be held at third as Garcia singles, and the White Sox have runners at the corners with nobody out. Garcia, part of that trade, which sent Jake Peavy to the Red Sox and Jose Iglesias to the Tigers. Three-way trade.
So far in this inning, the first two hitters, they're hitting it like he's throwing it. It's soft. Trying to get ahead with some off-speed pitches, and those guys are just trying to guide the ball out there, and they did. Irvin shaking his head saying, come on, but that's some rare emotion.
That's about as emotional as he's going to get on the mound.
Did you see him shake his head? He shook his head, actually.
With a little grin.
Right. And he's frustrated about those two hits. But now he's got to go to work.
And ball 1-2, Connor Gillespie. We were talking about this last inning, and the way Santana, at least on the outside, keeps his emotions in check. And, of course, the most extreme example of that was when we caught him in Tampa Bay eating a banana in between innings. I mean, just relaxing in between innings. Nothing really seems to get to him. That gets back past Salvador Perez. And
he can't find
the ball.
It disappeared into the advertising machine in the back. Yeah, one base. Oh, too bad. Because Konerko wasn't coming home on the pass ball anyway. Darn it. The ball disappeared. People were yelling at Salvi, and Salvi's going, hey, look, you show me where it is, I'll pick it up. Watch this. Boom. And, you know, Irvin's nickname is Magic, but I don't think he's got that much magic in him that he could disappear that ball like that. See Konerko at the top of your screen up there, he wasn't going. He lost the ball, too. You could see his arms are out.
So they move up by rule. That's not the same as fan interference, where the umpires make a judgment where would the runners have gone without the ball disappearing. But by rule, just like Torrey Hunter, the play that he had the other night in Detroit, where he decided to throw his arms in the air rather than pull that ball out of the padding, it's just two bases. And so Garcia's at second, and Konerko scores.
I don't think I've seen that before. Ball getting lost.
Not on a wild pitch. Every now and then you'll see a ball, Wrigley Field, for instance, a ball disappearing in the ivy on a live ball, but not a, well, that is a live ball, but not a ball in play, not a ball in between the lines. Three and one on Gillespie, who is from Omaha and went to Wichita State. And now he gets on top of one and lines it to right, where Maxwell makes a play. And Maxwell throws it to the plate with a runner at second base. That would have been a heck of a tag play by Garcia. Now, you said he runs well.
Great practice, as Maxwell's laughing at himself right now, saying, you know, I meant to throw that to third. Fortunately, he didn't tag up and go to third, but that was one heck of a practice throw at home.
So he obviously did not see Garcia being sent back to second base. He saw Garcia go to third on that wild pitch. And I think Garcia was just so stunned that the ball went to the plate that he just froze at second base.
I think you could be right on all those.
Might have been able to walk to third. That is just foul. Past a sliding Jamie Carroll and one strike on Diane Viciedo.
Okay, Garcia, he's going, well, should I tag? No, because I remember Maxwell has a good arm. And so he's looking, look at it, he's going, wow, what's he thinking? Sometimes that happens, especially after the ball going through the backstop. Didn't know how many bases, who was getting what. However, the game's starting out kind of funky for Irvin. They're hitting some soft liners off him. Canerco scores on a run that the ball disappeared in the back of the screen.
1-2 on Viciedo.
And he wasn't coming anyway. Canerco was not coming home on that. And that ball stayed in.
Two and two. Viciedo, another White Sox hitter, having a down year, and last year was a breakout year for him. Hit 25 home runs. White Sox were third in the league last year in home runs, and this year they are 13th. Chopped to short. Escobar will play it to third, and he gets Garcia, who tried to advance. So another funky part of the beginning of this game. Second out is at third base with Viciedo reaching first.
Yep. The old 6-5 here. But you know what? If the ball takes you that way in the hole and that runner's trying to advance on you, take the easy out. Now he almost was short with the throw. It's a good thing he didn't bounce it, but he put it right on the bag for Jamie Carroll.
And now Josh Fegley is getting a lot more playing time than I'm sure he or the White Sox thought he would. This was going to be the breakout year for Tyler Flowers, who had been stuck behind A.J. Pierzynski all those years in Chicago. And Flowers batting just 192 in 82 games. Fegley is playing in his 33rd game tonight. 2-0.
He's got a nice future with him. He's got a lot of energy. Energy is something that not every player brings, but when you have young energy on your team and in your lineup, it helps in a sport that grinds every day. You got to have it.
And now 3-0. Fegley was a first-round sandwich pick, a round compensation round between the first and second round in 2009. So he was a big catching prospect in their system. He acquired a very rare blood disease in 2010. And for those of you in the medical field, ITP syndrome. He had to have his spleen removed. So he's had to overcome big things since becoming a pro. And not knowing much about it, just reading up on it, but a disorder where a common bruise could become life-threatening. Blood's not clotting the way it should.
And if you're a catcher,
oh man,
you're in trouble.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, that doesn't sound like an attractive disease for anybody, but even more dangerous for a catcher.
You got that right. Irvin trying to finish him off here. Getting back into it.
Viciedo runs, and it's fouled away. 3-game series with the White Sox tomorrow night and Thursday night to complete the 3-gamer. And remember, every Wednesday is Ink Student Night and Local Music Showcase. Just show your valid student ID at the box office. You'll get a $7 ticket. Make sure to get here early for drink specials and live local music and the outfield experience before the game. Claire Audience is the band tomorrow night. Fouled back to the screen again, and it's still 3-2. Claire Audience, which is one word. So they'll be performing
tomorrow night
for the game tomorrow night. That would be CLAIR. Okay, I got that part down. Claire, AUDIENTS. Is that right? Claire Audience.
I think so.
Left center, and Bonifacio is there and makes a play. So that goofy play on the disappearing wild pitch, and the White Sox have scored in the first 2 innings against Santana. Also another Gordo Nation night. That's every Wednesday home game for the remainder of the season. You can come out and cheer on All-Star Alex Gordon with a $30 ticket that includes a limited edition Gordo Nation t-shirt and a seat in the field box or plaza sections in left field. So that's tomorrow for the 7-10 game with Chicago. Jeremy Guthrie will make the start for the Royals, going for his 13th win.
They got a nice little section out there beyond that home run pole, that foul pole.
Alex at 262, 4 hits and 22 at bats in the Tigers series. 1-1 against John Danks, who needed just 8 pitches to get the Royals in the first inning. Hosmer singled with 1 out, and then Danks was able to get Butler to ground into a double play. 2-1. The Royals have never beaten John Danks. He is 5-0 in 12 starts against KC. They have not seen him in 2 seasons. Popped up to the right side. And Konerko coming down the line, catches it on the line. That'll be ruled a fair ball catch. And Alex is out number 1.
Yeah, you know, I mean, that's got to be some confidence for him. You know, he's never lost to him, but it's been a couple of years, so really you can almost throw that stat out, can't you?
Different lineup.
Yeah.
And even some of the guys he has faced, are just getting started in their big league careers. Eric Hosmer, Salvador Perez, Alcides Escobar. Sal takes a big curve in for a strike. Sal 1 for 3 a couple of years ago against John Danks. Oh, and 2. So 5-0 altogether, 3-0 here with an ERA under 2.
You still use that for confidence, even though it's been a couple of years. Anything you can get for that delicate mental muscle up there that sometimes guys are a little weaker than others when they come to the ballpark. But when you see that, you go, you know what? All right, I know I've lost my last 3, but I'm facing a team I've never lost to.
Through the left side and past the diving Gillespie. So for the second straight inning, the Royals pick up a 1-out single.
You just got to go up there looking for your pitch out over the plate. Look to swing. Be aggressive on this guy. That ball's right down the middle. It's not overpowering. The Royals have faced a lot of lefties this year that would consider being soft tossing lefties, and they haven't performed that well against them. And I don't know why. Some things sometimes in baseball you can't explain. However, the numbers tell you against left-handed starters this year, the Royals are 16-19.
One and 0 on Justin Maxwell, who missed part of the Detroit series, attending the funeral for his grandmother. But in that series, he had 3 hits, 2 doubles. He's been a nice pickup for the Royals. 272 with the Royals and the Astros combined. 406 with the Royals, with a slugging percentage of .813. Just inside. 2 balls and 1 strike. That would be Jordan Danks, the younger brother of John Danks. And because of John's shoulder surgery last year and starting on the disabled list this year, the 2 brothers didn't get a chance to play in the same game. But now they have finally accomplished that, making things easy on Mr. and Mrs. Danks. You can follow their boys with the same team at the same time.
It's awesome.
He hit a big home run here. Jordan Danks did in extra innings. Helped the White Sox avoid being swept by the Royals.
I remember.
Change up. Maxwell strikes out, and that is number 1 for John Danks.
Okay, that's exactly where pitching coach of the White Sox, Donnie Cooper, wants Danks to finish his pitches, especially his changeup, down. His last 3 starts, Coop was telling me he's up in the zone. And when you're up, you get whacked. So great spot right there. And you know, the White Sox this year, I think especially this time of year, they were in the race last year, and they came to the K, and the Royals hurt them. So now they're saying, all right, it's our turn now. You guys are in the race for something. We're going to focus, and we're going to beat you. We're going to steal a little bit of your thunder like you did us last year. That's how it works in this game.
And there were many reasons why the White Sox didn't finish off the season and make it to the playoffs. But if there was one biggest reason, it was the Royals. Royals knocked them all over the place. And the Royals did not have a good year against Detroit, the team that eventually caught the White Sox and passed them in the division.
See what Bonifacio can do in his home debut.
Made his Royals debut during the Detroit series. He had 5 hits, 2 walks, so he was on base 7 times. He also stole 4 bases in the series and has 16 on the year.
I'd like to see him hit that gap here at the K. Another speed burner.
just up and away. 2-1. There aren't many guys, even in today's game, where you have the super utility players, guys who can play, and some would say above average, in Bonifacio's case, second base, shortstop, and center field, and third base. Played some third base in the Tigers series with Mike Moustakas unavailable.
Very talented, and especially like you said, to be above average in those action positions takes a strong athlete. There's Moose taking a chill pill tonight.
Royals expect that he will be back tomorrow. And Ned Yost was saying that Moustakas probably would not have played tonight against Danks, even if his calf was feeling better. So it just gives him an extra day. Sunday, the day off yesterday, tonight, and then back in there again tomorrow. So a full count with Perez at first, 2 down. He's running, and Bonifacio takes ball 4. So he walks again as a member of the Royals. And the Royals have 2 on against Danks with 2 down.
That's really good plate discipline. Some of those pitches were really close. There's Donnie Cooper saying, I wonder why he didn't swing at that. Plate discipline, you gotta have it. And if you don't have it, it's harder to develop it. But if you can somehow get a pitcher into a pattern where he's not throwing strikes, and you can be selective and milk a walk, it gains your confidence and you get better in that department. You start feeling better about yourself. Especially borderline pitches with 2 strikes.
So what does Alcides Escobar have in store for this homestand? A pretty intense roller coaster ride for him over the past few weeks. Remember, he had that road trip. He went 4 for 40. Then he came home and hit 485. And then in Detroit, he just went 2 for 19. Some pretty extreme peaks and valleys over the past few weeks.
Well, we're back home here. Maybe he knocks in a run.
Pulls it foul. 1 ball, 1 strike. So a little better at home, but for the most part, balance with the home and road games.
Last home run was back in April.
And some might suggest, only Escobar knows, that those home runs may have hurt him in the long run. He had 3 home runs in the month of April, and the last one was on the 28th. He had never hit 3 home runs in a single month ever, but 3 right out of the gate, and none since.
I think those fans right there, oh, that little girl's going to give her baseball away.
Got him looking. So a 1-out single, a 2-out walk. The Royals strand 2 in the second inning against Danks. Chicago leads 2-0. AT&T Uverse Rewind replays. This was a few years ago against the Orioles. Adam Jones on a ball hit by Mike Aviles, Emilio Bonifacio over the weekend in Detroit, and then earlier tonight.
Look at everybody. Where'd it go?
There are plays when baseball lifers will say to themselves, now what's the rule on that one? Because they haven't seen it before. Fouled away by De Aza.
You know, you're right, Brian. There are some things I would believe that baseball historian, that man that's got all that skills and knowledge in the game, he's probably went to some games and seen some things he hadn't seen before. And that disappearing act right there, I don't know where that ranks. But I haven't seen that. Not behind the plate.
I bet you're right. I bet you we could go ask Art right now if he'd ever seen that before, and he'd probably give us a couple of examples of where he had seen that before.
Great story.
And remember who was pitching and who was hitting and what time it was.
He's amazing, that guy.
The great Art Stewart.
He's a legend.
1-2 on De Aza. There he is, as he normally is, right behind home plate with his radar gun, listening to the Royals radio broadcast.
A lot of folks love the game. Ryan, you and I are included. I don't think anyone loves it more than that guy. If you took baseball away from him, it would crumble him. It would crush him. He just loves it. He shows up every day. He's got the energy of Salvador Perez.
Santana gave up a home run to Beckham in the first inning, and then that wild pitch, emphasizing wild, in the second inning that scored Konerko. 2 runs on 3 hits for the White Sox. 2-2 on Alejandro De Aza. He had a big year last year, breakout year for him, and even bigger this year, establishing new career highs for home runs and RBIs. Nine home runs, 50 RBIs last year for a guy who had spent a lot of time on the disabled list early in his career, and now this year 5 more home runs, 2 more RBIs, and we still have more than a month to play in the season. Santana's just missed with the last 2 pitches.
Yeah, he's on the edge of the plate. That's Ron Culpa behind home plate. He's a Missouri guy. 15th year in the big leagues.
Hold foul.
Culpa was born in St. Louis, but he resides in somewhere in Missouri. Didn't say what city. Intense competitor as far as umpires go. He's got a little hot temper at times. Sometimes they got shorter fuses than others, some guys. Culpa's one of them. If you get under his skin, he'll let you know it.
The most famous, or maybe infamous, confrontation he had, remember, with Carl Everett at Fenway Park years ago, and Carl Everett headbutted him. Remember when they got into a heated argument right behind home plate? That was a very young Ron Culpa. Ten pitch at bat so far for De Aza, which includes 6 foul balls.
So Irvin's pitch count's a little bit higher than normal here.
And another foul ball.
Typically, Irvin's finish off pitch is his slider. And doesn't have a lot of guys having big at bats against him, spinning a lot of his pitches because he finishes them off like that. There it was.
So there's a victory on both sides there. Santana gets the out, and De Aza made him throw 11 pitches.
That's the one. And you know, the rotation's just hard to pick up. It looks like a fastball. That's why guys swing and miss at that a lot.
So 1 out to Beckham, who homered to left field in the first inning. And on a similar pitch of that, Irvin comes right back at him. It was Beckham's 4th home run of the year. Gets him up to 304 with his batting average. And now Santana's ahead 0-2. Beckham was the White Sox first-round pick in 08 out of the University of Georgia, and he was in the big leagues as a starter the very next year and hit .270. But that average tailed off every year from 09 until last year. .270 all the way down to .234. So a bounce-back season for him, even though he's played in just 71 games because of a broken wrist back in April. 2-2.
I'm impressed with his defense. He plays with a sense of urgency out there. He's robbed several Royals hits this year that we've seen.
Escobar got a nice big hop and throws him out. 2 down. Well, here's your chance to stock up on all your favorite ballpark food. You know, you can purchase specific seats, which include all the hot dogs, nachos, peanuts, pretzels, and Pepsi products you can handle for just $40. And the next all-you-can-eat game is Thursday, day after tomorrow, against the White Sox at 7:10. You can get tickets to that game at Royals.com/all-you-can-eat. And now ball 1 to Ramirez, who struck out swinging at a slider in the first inning. And on the ground to Getz. So Santana has his first scoreless inning. White Sox are down in order to the bottom of the 3rd. Chicago leads 2-0. Who works with the Lawrence Police Department. And we're going to tell you all about Trish, who is sitting in the Buck O'Neil Legacy seat at tonight's game. Trish also serves on the board of the department's Blue Santa program, which provides toys and food for those who are less fortunate at Christmas. Trish works extremely hard, organizing donations, fundraisers, gift wrappings, and the delivery of the toys, all while maintaining her position within the police department. Congratulations, Trish. And with that, Chris Getz whacks it into right field for a leadoff base hit. Getz had a good series against the Tigers. He had .333 with quite a few hard hit balls. Outs, I should say.
Yes, he did. And Ryan, he looks like at this time of year, like he did the first week of the season this year, when he was hitting the ball, stealing, getting on, and then he got hurt.
So leadoff man on, and now the leadoff hitter, Jamie Carroll. And with Jamie at the plate, let's check in with Joe Goldberg.
Well, let's see what Jamie Carroll tries to do here. You know, it's interesting, guys, talking to Pedro Grifol after the second game of the doubleheader last Friday. He said that the biggest at-bat, actually plate appearance, came in the third inning of that game. Well, Eric Hosmer had what was then the game-winning RBI, or would go on to be the game-winning RBI with the 2-run homer, but he wasn't talking about the homer. He was talking about Jamie Carroll before him. 2 outs, nobody on, and Carroll climbs back and draws a 2-out walk. That leads to the home run. That's all the Royals needed in the game, and Pedro wanted to point out that was the plate appearance of the game, and that's what they're looking for from Jamie Carroll.
I agree. Go right after him.
Told the story before, but Jamie Carroll, very similar to you, Hud, got to the big leagues at an older age, if you will, at least for a baseball player. And his manager, and it was the Montreal Expos, was Frank Robinson, the Hall of Famer. And Frank Robinson said every team needs a Jamie Carroll. And that's going to be an easy double play for the White Sox as Getz was running. So Carroll, who's usually very good with the bat, like to try and keep the ball on the ground with Getz running, but that will be an 8-3 double play. And the second double play the Royals have hit into tonight.
Yeah, and you know, when you're on a hit and run like that, you just keep going when the ball's hit. There's nothing you can do there.
So Eric Hosmer with 2 outs and nobody on, and he singled in the first inning. Went the other way and singled to left. Curveball is in for a strike. Our Toyota League leaders. Only Brett Lawrie of the Blue Jays has more hits in the month of August than Eric Hosmer, who is tied with Alexei Ramirez of the White Sox. Hosmer's actually gone in front of Ramirez with a base hit tonight. By the way, before we run out of time, we're going to do something a little unique next inning. We are going to have a 4-man broadcast booth. Well, actually, we're going to have two 2-man broadcast booths. And we're going to be hooking up with the White Sox television team of Ken Hawk Harrelson and former Cy Young winner and longtime broadcaster Steve Stone. There they are. So they've done this before. And so we'll be spending the top and the bottom of the 4th inning talking baseball with Hawk and Stoney.
That'll be awesome. Looking forward to it.
Here's the last time Hud and Hawk got together, so prepare yourselves.
Well, we're characters. Oh,
off the bag, and the ball redirected around Konerko, and Garcia made a good play. Beckham trying to turn and throw back to first, but Garcia held Hosmer to a single.
Yeah, looked like he hit that breaking ball right through his glove. Konerko, he tried the Olay there. Let's watch him here. See if he's trying to do anything. Oh, it hit the bag. It looked kind of funky to me. It hit the bag. Couldn't see it until that replay there. And then Hosmer thought about going to second base, and Beckham was going to throw behind him, lost his footing. And Hosmer, he's getting the chuckle out of that.
That is his 47th multi-hit game of the year. 3rd best in the league. So he's on with 2 outs. Billy's got another shot at Danks. Billy grounded into an inning-ending double play in the first inning. Chased a pitch that was down 0-1.
At least he was guessing right. He got a fastball. Yeah, no, it'll be fun to go on with Hawk and Steve Stone. Those guys are legends in the game, not only on the field but in the broadcast booth. We can talk some ball and share about our teams maybe, and hope we see something special out here while we're doing it.
0-2. He has probably the most well-known home run call of all Major League broadcasters. And you asked him about that when you interviewed him when the White Sox were here earlier this year. And it was interesting. I never heard the story before, but it goes back to his daughter's days as a diver, right?
Exactly.
And put it on the board had to do with points that she scored as a diver, right? And then
Stretch,
Stretch. Okay.
Stretch was the call that he used for a putt to go in the hole. And we can always ask him about that. Put on the board.
I think the yes part, maybe that was the part.
Yeah, he'd say put on the board.
As he so eloquently described his emotions watching his daughter up on the high dive, something about a grease tee, and that when they would put her points on the board, she would say yes. Anyway,
we'll get him to explain it if he wants to. Billy looking for some elevation on the pitch. He wants it up.
Hosmer aboard with a 2-out single. Still 2-2.
Like he got his pitch there, but he was a little out in front of that. See where he just made a motion saying, you know what? That ball is right down the middle. I need to stay in the middle of the field there. He was staying. He kind of made a motion like I stay inside that ball.
Instead of trying to pull it, drive it to right center field, which is one of his strengths. Back to Danks on a big hop. So the Royals get 2 hits, no runs in the bottom of the third. We'll chat with Ken Harrelson and Steve Stone when we come back.
Favorites, Ryan Lefevre and Rex Hudler. And guys, welcome.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah, listen, you guys just coming off a tough series with the Tigers. And as it turns out, Ryan and Rex, this is a huge series for you guys right here.
Yeah, you know, the Royals have had a lot of really good series this year against winning teams, but with a young team, the concern has been, okay, don't let your guard down now. I don't think you're just going to show up and beat teams below 500. And they've really responded to the call, Hud, don't you think, against teams below them in the standings.
They have. They realize the sense of urgency each day, no matter where they're playing or what color the uniform is. They know they've got to execute in baseball. And guys, you guys are lifers in baseball. Now, Stoney, you remember the times when you were pitching for the Orioles and all them important games. When you played teams that were below 500, you couldn't let your guard down then, could you?
No, in fact, that's a lot of things that Earl Weaver, our manager, would tell us is these are the teams that you got to stomp on. And then, you try to battle the contenders head-to-head. But the teams you're supposed to beat, you beat, and that's how you put together a good year and stay in contention.
Well, you guys have a situation here that nobody likes. I believe, tell me if I'm wrong, I think it's 44 games in 44 days.
That's
Yes.
right. Without a doubt, Hawk. But the one thing that's been wonderful about that is our summer, the weather. It's been outstanding. It's cool. And when you're playing baseball in August and it's cool outside, 70s, 80s, it's not as taxing.
Well, tell me a little bit. We've been discussing here for a couple of innings now the fact that it's pretty evident that Billy Butler, who's one of the better hitters in the league, especially in the 7th, 8th, and 9th inning, is one of those hitters if he's got protection. And he just doesn't have any protection. And he's expanded his strike zone. He's anxious up there, and he's swinging at bad pitches. And, Rex, that can get you in a lot of problems.
It can, and it was hard for him early, guys. But you know what? I think Ned Yost and the 3 or 4 different hitting coaches they've had this season, all were talking to him, you got to take your walks. They weren't pitching him right, and it was frustrating for him. He had a hard time. But then he just decided, hey, look, if they're not going to pitch to me, I'm going to take my walks. He's got 65 walks, 7 of those intentional. And Pedro Gafal is liking what he's been doing lately. Is he's getting his hits again, and they seem to pitch to him, but there has not been a consistent hitter behind him.
Guys, let me ask you a question about when George Brett came down and took over for, 7 weeks, whatever it was, as a co-hitting instructor. Is it a coincidence that Hosmer then started to hit? Because I know he was struggling before that. Was it anything that he told him, or what was the transformation for Hosmer this year?
Well, Eric Hosmer, he's got a lot of moving parts. You guys can see how long he is, how long-limbed. And there's George, along with Wath. Yeah. Now, his leading foot has been the key for him. He would like to flamingo kick. You see how those guys all bring that leg up and they kick it. But that front foot he wasn't finding any timing with it. And he was lunging towards the pitcher. And his long arms and hands, he couldn't get timing. He was getting jammed. And then I think that Pedro Gafal and George really had an impact on him by teaching him to shorten up that stride. Don't lift the foot up so high. Let that front foot hold your weight back. And then the natural ability's taken over. He's gone off.
That ball is foul. Well, the first part of the year when we played you guys, Hosmer could not hit a ball on the right side of second base.
No,
he was late on everything.
And it changed right away, Hawk. I mean, that was one of the first things we noticed about Hosmer after George worked with him and Pedro Gafol. And George was really hard on himself when he resigned. As if, I just wasn't a very good hitting coach. But he did so much for these guys just by putting his arm around them, around the batting cage, and saying, hey, you look good in the dugout. That was a good at-bat. I really liked your swing. And you can imagine somebody with 3,154 hits and 3 batting titles in the Hall of Fame just telling a young player who's wondering if he can do here what he did in the minor leagues, that he's doing a good job. I think just emotionally he had an effect more than anything else on these young hitters.
Well, to me, he's still the face of the franchise. He was one of these players. He's my all-time favorite player, as a matter of fact. I would have loved to have played against George Brett, and we used to come in here. And the 2 places in Major League Baseball was the hardest to win a game in were right here in Kansas City and Houston in the National League. And George was just an unbelievable player. And, I asked him, we got here a couple of days after they had just hired him, or he accepted the job as hitting coach. And I said, how many Walmarts did they promise you? I mean, tell me, because I didn't think you'd ever get him to come in to be hitting coach, and yet he can do so much for a club.
Well, you said you'd love to play against him. I did play against him. And my dad was invited in the dugout. Earl Weaver sitting next to him, and he pointed out to that guy. He said, see that guy over there? My dad goes, where? He goes, over there, number 5, that guy. You know who that guy is? My dad goes, no. He goes, that's George Brett. He said, oh, that's good. He said to him, you know what he's hitting against your kid? My dad goes, no. He said he's hitting 480 against your kid. You think he can get him out today?
That's Earl. That's Earl.
How do I know?
You guys aren't out of this thing yet, though. You know, you've got, 6 games left with the Tigers, 6 games left with Cleveland?
We do. And this just means so much to the fans to be talking baseball with NFL training camp going on and college football around the corner, to play meaningful games this late in the year. I mean, the fans, they're not paying a whole lot of attention to the standings and the odds of overcoming a deficit like this in the division or the wild card. Man, they're just happy to be out here and enjoying meaningful games this late in the year.
Garcia can't get it up there. Well, this is a terrific baseball town. I mean, it is, and where you guys stand right now, we were talking about Dayton Moore has done the job. He's put the talent out there. Now, it just hadn't gotten the job done.
Yeah, you're exactly right, Hawk. Hey, but looking at this young kid right here, 6'4", 240. This he's a big part of your future here, this Avisail Garcia.
Yeah, well, we were talking earlier that he and this kid Garcia, Liuri, we got from Texas, can possibly change the philosophy of the White Sox franchise for the next 4, 5, 6, 7 years.
And guys, I don't think we ever get Avisail Garcia, if not for the Peralta suspension. So with PEDs, it has a ripple effect all over baseball, and one of the effects was they had to get insurance. They got Jose Iglesias from Boston. We traded PV to Boston and got Garcia. Otherwise, I don't think Detroit ever lets this guy go.
That's in the dirt and the count 2-2.
I was listening to one of your broadcasts. I think we were on a bus ride from the ballpark to the hotel somewhere, and I heard a conversation between the two of you, and you made that point, Stoney, that how there would be, and this was before the suspensions came down, that you predicted that this would not just affect the teams whose players were being suspended, that it would affect a lot of teams as far as movement of players, and you were right.
Yeah, guys that you'd never have a shot at, you got.
He just muscles that one into center field. A normal guy, that's just his little soft liner to second base. But he is 2 for 2.
And guys, what has Maxwell meant to you guys? Because I know that coming over from Houston, where he was out of it, maybe didn't have that kind of adrenaline or incentive, coming to a team of some young players that actually does have a shot at it, he's been seemingly pretty impressive.
Oh, let me tell you, he's an athlete. Another good move for Dayton Moore and the Royals. And here's why. I mean, they lost Lorenzo Cain. You guys have seen his body of work and what this guy does. He's a tremendous run saver for the pitchers. And now he's out. There's Lorenzo Cain. And so they went and got Maxwell. Maxwell's another athlete, a guy he's got some ability to turn that ball around. He's hit 2 big home runs. His first game, he hit one against the Mets that still would be going if they didn't have the stands to stop it. And he's got long arms. He's got legs. He can run. And they got him under control for a few more years. So a great move, and to an already athletic outfield. Good depth.
Well, a couple of years ago, y'all had the best defensive outfield in baseball. And, you know, when you had Gordon out there, and you had Melky Cabrera in center field, and you had Francoeur out there in right field, and you've got a good one now. Lorenzo Cain put an extra bit. He put Showtime on in that series against us at home.
He sure did. That might have been his best series, huh?
Oh, yeah. That's why I knew you guys had seen him.
But I think that was the last series that he played in 100%. I think he made one play in Chicago where you could still see his body engraved into the center field padding. He hit it so hard. Remember that?
We just showed it right now. He got a tremendous jump on the ball and went full steam right into the wall.
If that had been Bo Jackson, he'd just run up it and run around it.
The trainer comes out and checks the wall.
Yeah. Here's a pitch to Gillespie.
Yeah, but
ball misses.
You know what the Royals fans are excited about most, outside of the great pitching they've gotten and their starters and their bullpen, is the spectacular defense. I mean, you got potential gold all over the infield here. You got Hosmer at first base. He'll win a goal. We just don't know when. Escobar, the shortstop, he's got great range, and he makes those highlight tapes. And our catcher, Salvador Perez, to go along with the 2-time Alex Gordon already in left. The future looks really bright here in Kansas City, guys.
Oh, I don't think there's any question. When you got some good starters, Detroit's got the best 5 starters in this league. I don't know about the National League, but your bullpen is way ahead of theirs. And you know yourself, it's become a battle of bullpens because your starters, are not going to finish. They're not going to go 7 and 8 innings. Now, Detroit's got a couple. They got Scherzer and they got Verlander, who will go 7 and 8 innings. But it's going to be tough. As I said, you guys are not out of it, but you're going to have to play your arses off to get there.
Guys, is Moustakas going to be able to turn it around? I know he's got some calf problems now, but I'm just talking about be the hitter he was or looked like as a number 1 draft choice coming up from the minor leagues.
I think so because, the ability's there. He hit 20 home runs last year. However, guys, you know how they rush these young players up to the big leagues now?
Yeah.
Not a lot of them have experienced failure. So the fact that Moose went through a ton of failure and ate a bunch of humble pie this past or early in the season, and that's about when George came on. George really helped him mentally how to handle failure. How do you handle it night after night? You don't put your head down and run halfway to first base. You go hard. You play hard. And Moose started doing that, and it turned his whole game around, and he started to regain the confidence that he once had. But I don't think that you can succeed unless you handle failure. How about you guys?
Well, you know what experience is? Experience is something you got when you didn't want to get it. And that's what happens. That means you failed. Mm-hmm. And I'm 100% behind what you just said, Rex. It's just something you've got to, if guys would learn how to lose correctly, they wouldn't lose as much. If guys would learn how to take a strikeout, if they would learn how to take a pop-up, if they would learn how to take a ground out and make something positive out of it, then they could get to where they want to be a lot quicker. But if you're going to sit there and grind, when Paul Konerko first joined us, I thought he was going to kill himself. I mean, he'd go 0 for 4, 0 for 8. He'd go back busting helmets and bats and everything. And the maturation process that he went through has been one of my good joys here with the White Sox, watching him grow up and become what he is today. And he's going to help Gordon Beckham. But I'm with you. I think Moustakas has got a huge upside. Is his status? Is his health? How is it now?
They think he's going to play tomorrow. They expect him to get back in there tomorrow. He played over the weekend in Detroit after sitting out a few days. He injured the calf on our last homestand, and you could tell in the first couple of innings. This is why the game is so cruel. He comes back from a calf injury, and what happens in his first at-bat? He hits a little tap in between the mound and home plate. So he's trying to bust out an infield single, then an overthrow, and he goes to second. So, I mean, he wasn't running like that when he was trying to get the calf back in shape. And by the time the game was over, he had a noticeable limp, and they pulled him out. But they think he'll be ready to go again tomorrow.
Well, we've got the bases loaded here. And as I mentioned, this is a big series for you guys coming off that tough one. You're going to have to, as you said, play good against teams with losing records. And we're in that category, unfortunately.
And, Rex, let me ask you a question because you mentioned something about, not hanging your head going to first base. I grew up watching you play, and I saw you hustle every minute you were on the field.
Boy, that's cold, Rex. That's
so
cold.
I love it.
Is it difficult if you see guys who don't hustle? I mean, guys who, for whatever reason, they're not giving it to you every day. Because the one thing that left an indelible impression on me watching you play was you left it out on the field every day, every play. And that's something I don't think we're seeing quite as much of these days.
Steve, yes, and thank you. But that's the only thing I had to give Major League Baseball. That's the only thing I could give them. I wasn't a great player, didn't have great ability. But the little ability I had, and I could control, and that was my hustle. And so even though meaningless play, I mean, that play right there, we were ahead by 8 runs. But I didn't care. They're showing up an old highlight of me. I don't know, fellas, where they
diving
got that
head
from.
First into the barrier wall and foul ground, by the way.
But, look, guys, it was just the simple fact of just getting an opportunity to entertain people that may not have the means to come to the ballpark, but I've really played for the fans that couldn't be a big leaguer. And I knew that my time was fleeting. So, yes, Steve, to answer your question, as a broadcaster now, it really bothers me. It's hard to see, especially a young player, not go 90 feet. And then, instead of calling guys out over the once in a few while, you have to for integrity's sake, but you just point out the Jeters. You point out the Jamie Carrolls, the guys who go 90 feet hard. And that kind of helps me overcome some of the pain of not seeing players give it to the game.
No, I think you bring out a good point because it's not a question of talent. Look, Derek Jeter is going to the Hall of Fame because he was supremely talented, but he gave it to you every day, whatever he had. And there's a whole lot of people much less talented than Derek Jeter, but there's no excuse for not hustling. There's zero.
As he gets him, so he gets out of a bases-loaded jam here. We'll go to the bottom of the 4th. We'll continue this when we return.
side, and over on the Chicago side, Ken Hawk Harrelson and Steve Stone, who had a big impact on my career about 21 years ago. Maybe we'll have a chance to tell that story. But, Hawk, now that we turn the tables on you guys, you were so gracious when you were here earlier in the year. You did an interview with HUD. Your home run call has to be easily the most well-known home run call amongst all of us broadcasters, maybe the most imitated home run call. And share with our viewing audience, and I'm sure there's a lot of people in Chicago who have never heard the exact story, how you got to put it on the board, yes.
Well, actually, it was not from baseball, as that ball's hit hard and foul by Gordon. I was playing in the golf tournament. They gave me an exemption to play in the PGA event in Sutton, Massachusetts at Pleasant Valley. And I hadn't been playing that much, but I happened to get it around the golf course first day, shot 68. And then the second day, on about the fifth or sixth hole, I knocked in about a 25, 30-footer for birdie on this par 3. Well, back in those days, they did not have electronic scoreboards. They had manual scoreboards, and there was an elderly gentleman sitting up there with his pipe in his mouth reading a book. So he hadn't moved, So as I walked off the green, I looked at him, and I said, "Put it on the board." So he started moving. He took the 2 up there and put it on the board. And that put me like 6 or 7 under, or 5 or 6 under at the time, and only 2 shots off the lead. And where the yes came from, our daughter Crystal was just a terrific competitive diver. She started on a 1-meter board, and then she went to the 3-meter board. And when she got to the 10-meter board, you couldn't have pulled a grease. She had them up behind with a pair of pliers. Every time she'd go off and she'd hit that 3.5 or whatever it was going to be, and she'd hit it and come up out of that water, I'd go, yes! And then one day somebody hit a home run, and I said, "You can put it on the board, yes!" And that's where it came from, really, not from baseball.
Oh, it's outstanding.
It's a great story. Well, I'm sure it's great for you guys to see John Danks back on the mound again.
Well, it certainly is that, and he came back early, Ryan, and didn't have the good movement on the fastball, didn't have the arm strength yet, but his control was very good. The problem was he was what was called wild in the strike zone, so he was giving up a whole lot of hits, a lot of home runs, but he's a tremendous competitor. Next year he's going to be much better for having gone through what he's gone through this year. And I think you guys can see that his changeup has got to be a big part of his arsenal. And because of the lack of arm strength, the changeup wasn't real good. He was leaving a few up, but next year he's going to be pretty good.
Well, this is a good example of what Rex was talking about with hitting. Same thing with pitching. Johnny is way ahead of where we thought he would be at this particular point in time. And when he does get another 6 inches on that fastball and that change up, that arm speed that Steve's talking about is there, he's going to be, because he will give you everything that he's got out there every time he goes to the bump.
Hey, fellas, how's Robin Ventura taken this in his second year? I mean, he was one of the top managers last year, and then this year, with the struggles they've had, how's he handled it?
Well, on September 18th last year, we had a lead on the Tigers. Then we spit it out, and we finally wound up losing by 3 games in his first year as a manager. He's going to learn more this year than he did last year about managing. And he is in good shape, as we talked about, as there's a hard hit ball, and that's going to find the gap. So Maxwell pulls in with a 2-out double. But Robin is perfect, in my opinion. He is a perfect guy to maybe managing a major league team. He is a guy who can get the pinky. A lot of people don't understand that. He can get the behind in a hurry. And he's very, very calm. He's very collected. And he is really good with young players, especially pitchers, and that's what we've got. Next year we're going to have the youngest pitching staff probably in the American League with the most experience. So I wouldn't ask for any other guy to be managing this ball club. I wish they would sign him to extension. The only thing is he might not want it.
Well, they did offer him one at one point. He turned it down, saying, let's see what happens. But I think he'll be around for a while, boys. I think he's going to be a pretty good one. And I know he understands the game, and I know he has the respect of the players, which is something you have to have.
Players love him.
Well, guys, this was a treat. We should do this again sometime.
We will, Ryan. And
We'd
Rex,
love it.
thanks
Thank
for
you.
joining us, and we were happy, buddy.
Hey, man, we love you on Charlie O.
Don't start up for that.
Look at that.
Yeah, can't help it.
All right.
No rains.
Oh, man. Thanks, guys.
All right.
Foods and their Bacon a Difference charity concert. All tickets are $10 with all proceeds benefiting harvesters. Go to baconadifference.com.
Come on, folks. We got to get you behind that $10 tickets. 100% to the harvesters. You got to go.
And there's our FCC mandated one shot at least of a full moon at a live sporting event. Well done.
It's beautiful.
And now we're bonus time. Look at that. Almost puts you right on the surface of the moon.
You know, yesterday's off day was special. You know, the Royals had a great golf tournament. And all the proceeds went to the Special Olympics. A lot of good turnout. A lot of Royals players there, alumni players. And you know, you don't get to see too many nights out in the evenings out when the sun's coming. Now, Carroll stayed with that.
He did it to De Aza again.
He stayed with it. But to see the sunset and the moon coming up, you know, it's unusual for us because we're always at the ballpark during the summer. So with my family last night looking at that sun, you know, it's beautiful here in Kansas City, especially this weather. And Jamie Carroll, good focus.
I've said it many times. I feel sorry for people who have moved to Kansas City this year and have heard all the horror stories about these hot summers. And about now they're thinking, well, you know, this isn't so bad.
No.
Everyone was warning us about all the heat and humidity and lack of rain. This is beautiful. And most people I've talked to can't remember another July and August like the one we've had this year. We'll take it. 2 up, 2 down. Santana needs a couple of quick outs. Well, after this series, the Washington Nationals are in town, so we'll see Bryce Harper and the Nats. And on Friday, it's our last summer fireworks of the year. So after the game, a great fireworks show, courtesy of Hy-Vee and Pepsi. It's also Buck Night, so hot dogs, peanuts, and small soft drinks are just $1. And you can go to Royals.com or call 1-800-6-ROYALS and buy those tickets right now.
Yeah, no Strasburg. I know some people were hoping that he might pitch, but it's going to be Gio Gonzalez in that game 1 on Friday, Jordan Zimmerman, and Dan Herron. Sometimes when you swing hard, you feel something in your back, or your hammy, or your knee. And Ramirez had one of those swings.
And he doesn't look quite right as he runs up the line. Santana does. It's a 7-pitch 5th inning. Halfway home, Chicago with 1 in the second and 1 in the first. Still leads 2-0.
Break takes us to Detroit. Justin Morneau, I think Royals fans happy to cheer for the Twins in this one. That is his 15th on the year. Pedro Florimon also homered. Prince Fielder for the Tigers, but nice to see the Minnesota Twins leading that one. And some other news and notes around the league. Yesterday, the Angels announcing that Albert Pujols shut down for the year. He's got that plantar fasciitis. How about this one, guys? Jake Elmore becomes the 14th player in Major League history to pitch and catch in the same game. They were getting blown out by the Rangers yesterday, and he ended up doing both of those. That's going to be a foul ball.
Now,
so
Joel,
we'll
did I read that graphic correctly? It listed him as a shortstop.
He's a middle infielder
who can also catch and pitch.
He
Pretty
caught,
good.
He pitched. So, you see guys like Jamie Carroll, who pitched against the Royals this year, and Emilio Bonifacio, who does just about everything, but I'm pretty sure that Jake Elmore has done something that does not happen too often. Ryan Dempster suspended 5 games for throwing at Alex Rodriguez. Problem is he missed the first time, then went inside twice and hit him. The other problem is his team ended up losing that game, perhaps in part because of that, so it might not have been the right time to go after A-Rod.
Escobar lines out to Viciedo for the first out of the 5th inning.
The other one that we saw on that board was Ichiro. Had a couple of hits earlier today in a split doubleheader for the Yankees. He now has 3,999 combined in Japan and the major leagues. He is not starting in the second game in the nightcap. So if for some reason he gets into that game and collects a hit, we'll update you on that.
He had those 10 consecutive seasons of at least 200 hits, Ichiro Suzuki. He has the major league record for most hits in a single season.
Great player. He'll be the first Japanese born in our Hall of Fame. He takes great care of himself, always stretching, very flexible. That's the key to longevity, keeping that flexibility.
Hit hard, and Getz hits it to one of his best friends in the game, Gordon Beckham. So Getz hits it hard again after singling first time up. 2 down. All right, I'm a little rusty, Hud. It's been a while. Let's see how we do with our AT&T trivia question. Who has the most wins this season pitching for a new major league team? You're smiling. You know this already?
No. I'm just happy to be here, but I'm looking for a comeback here. It would be the 37th if the Royals can come back and win this.
Oh, 0-2 on Jamie Carroll, who is 0 for 2. Well, I know we're being tempted to go with Irvin Santana with 8.
It's wins, though. There's more wins by a new guy for a new team. Could be an old guy, but it's for a new team.
Could be a new guy for an old team.
It's the beauty of the questions we get.
Konerko will go to the bag, and it's an easy inning for John Danks. He is 5-0 in his career against the Royals, and he's pitched 5 scoreless innings tonight. Baseball is brought to you by Panera Bread. Try pasta the Panera way. Live consciously, eat deliciously. By Ford. See the new F-150 at your Midwest Ford dealer today. And by ATT Uburst TV. Check availability at 1-800-PICK-ATT. Rethink possible. Great night to be outside, just like it's been all summer long. Royals and White Sox. Chicago scored 1 in the first, 1 in the second. And that's all the offense tonight. Adam Dunn just missed hitting a home run in the first inning. He drove Emilio Bonifacio to the fence in deepest left center field. Adam Dunn is 0 for 2. Paul Konerko will follow him, and then Abisail Garcia. 2-1. Luke Hochevar warming up as Santana is coming up on 100 pitches in the 6th inning. He has been so reliable as far as going at least 6 innings. As Hosmer will get it to Santana, 1 down. He has gone 6 innings or more in 22 of his first 24 starts, and trying to do it again tonight.
Yeah, consistency. That's what you want out of a guy. And players want that too out of themselves.
All right, our AT&T trivia question. You know, I Googled this, and it just gave me a list of names. I mean,
Okay.
It didn't rank them or anything.
But did it help you pick a guy?
I'm just going to pick Francisco Liriano of the Pirates.
Okay, that's a good guess because he's dealing.
And again, it didn't rank them. It just gave me a whole list of guys, and I just picked Liriano.
Now you're learning what I usually do. But you know what? Way to go. Way to stay hot. First day back, you got it.
He looked like his career was at the very end last year and the year before, Francisco Liriano. And then remember, he got a big contract during the offseason, which surprised a lot of people. And he broke his arm. Remember that?
Yeah.
He had an accident at home, and his contractor, I think part of his contract may have been voided. It was his non-throwing arm, but still, he wasn't going to be ready at the beginning of the season. And boy, the Pirates glad that, first of all, they signed him and stuck with him. 0-2 on Konerko. Konerko doubled leading off the 2nd inning and then scored on a wild pitch because he had to. Not because he wanted to, but because the baseball rules forced him to score on a wild pitch. So you're wondering, what the heck does that mean? Well, he was at third base in the 2nd inning. The ball got past Salvador Perez, and it went right through the signage board there, tore right through and disappeared. Konerko was not coming down the line, but because of the rules, the runners were asked to move up 90 feet. Technically, they ruled it a pass ball, but it just went right through that canvas message board behind home plate.
It's strange.
So 102 pitches for Irvin Santana. And with our Time Warner Cable Ultimate Internet pitch speed comparison, Santana's been up to 95. John Danks, who's pitched 5 scoreless innings, has thrown as high as 92. One of Santana's pitches tore the canvas.
He hit the right spot.
Now, if it's a wild pitch, Santana has to pay for that, but because it was a pass ball, Salvador Perez has to pay for it. So the scoring on that was actually a big deal.
Yeah.
Abisail Garcia. He is singled to center twice. Remember last year when he was called up for the Tigers and we were talking about how much he looked like Miguel Cabrera. Both are from Venezuela. Similar batting stances, similar body size. They wear their uniforms the same.
Yep. And Miguel was calling this guy Abisail Mini Me.
And didn't we catch him wearing Miguel Cabrera's spikes? Wasn't he wearing a pair of his spikes?
Uh-huh.
He was the Tigers' minor league player of the year last year, and then was part of that 3-team trade coming over to the White Sox. Still 1-2.
This kid's got a nice future ahead of him, though. Big size, big, 6'4", 240. Runs like a deer. They love his speed. Throws, good arm.
Lays off the slider, 2-2.
Alex Rios being gone now, he's with the Rangers. It's just amazing how the young replaces the old. In this game, you know, it's a young man's game, but, you know, you lose one kid, here comes another one. They're always coming. And I remember playing, you're always looking behind your back. You're always going, okay, who's going to take my job? Who's coming? Because that's a guarantee. You won't be a ball player forever. Someone will take your job eventually. So guys are a little nervous. And with a kid like Garcia coming up, you got to be you're going, man, okay, my time is not too far away. I better get the most of it, have fun, hustle, play the game, make good connections. Always treat each day like it could be your last. Look at this guy, he's pumped. Let it go, sir. I understand your joy.
Still 2-2.
Some of the big leaguers, when a young player comes up that's after their job, they ice him. They don't spend a lot of time with him. They're a little nervous. They don't want to give many of their secrets. Others say, hey, look, hey, young man, good luck to you. Let me help you. Another foul off the mask, which Salvi doesn't need. Yeah.
And a lot of that has to do with first of all, the personality of the veteran player. And it also has to do with how that veteran player was treated when he was a young player. You hear often, well, you know what, when I was young, so-and-so realized that I was competing for his job and he took care of me. So this is my way of giving back to the game.
You're exactly right. But Salvador Perez, there's just nothing you can do to get away from those foul tips.
Slider strikes out Garcia, so Santana for the 23rd time in 25 starts goes at least 6 innings. It took him more than 110 pitches tonight, but he gets through 6. Now the Royals need to get him some runs. First and a run in the second against Irvin Santana. And the Royals are trying to break through against John Danks. Scoreless through 5 innings. Our Sonic Slam-in contestant is Karen Searcy from Eagle Rock, Missouri. And a home run is worth $1,500. And the league has hit plenty against John Danks this year. A grand slam out of the park, and Karen Searcy will win $25,000 from Sonic and the Kansas City Royals. Royals have 5 hits in 5 innings against Danks, and Hosmer has 2 of those hits with a single to left and a single to right, which hit first base. 2-2. So John Danks, who is winless in his previous 8 starts, he hasn't won since July the 2nd against the Orioles, has not allowed a run yet tonight as Hosmer stays alive at 2-2.
Yeah, you know, this morning I was doing a little bit of reading. I saw where this guy was dominant against Kansas City, and I go, you know what? But that, I look back, it's been 2 years since he's pitched, so I'm thinking to myself, well, times have changed, and maybe he's not going that good. But I was wrong. He's still going good. He's executing his pitches. He's mixing them very well. His changeup looks like he's keeping it down for the most part. He's burying breaking balls against left-handed batters. And he's getting them to have bad swings.
We were talking about the trade that brought Garcia to the White Sox. It doesn't seem like that long ago. It was 6 years ago, gosh, when John Danks came over from the Texas Rangers. He was actually a first-round pick of theirs in a deal that sent Brandon McCarthy to Texas. McCarthy didn't do much for them. He was injured most of the time. Konerko will play it. Danks gets to the bag in front of Hosmer. 1 down in the 6th. Parents, there's still time to sign your kids up for Sluggers Blue Crew. Brought to you by the Learning Quest 529 Education Savings Program. Kids receive a gray batting practice jersey, a Royals hat, blue wristbands, ticket vouchers, priority access for the Sunday Fun Run. You name it. And all that for just $25. The kids can sign up right now, or parents, you can sign your kids up right now at royals.com/Blue Crew. It's like a Blue Crew member.
Yeah, you know, it's a beautiful thing. I mean, look at that price. That's wonderful for the kids. And coming to a baseball game and all the facilities that are in the back here, the carousel, Little K, I mean, there's a lot to entertain them with here. And for that little bit of money to entertain your kid, that's a beautiful thing.
Billy's been a big out twice for Danks. Danks got him to ground into a double play in the first inning and then ground out to end the 3rd. 1 ball, 1 strike. Getting into the part of the game where Billy has been most dangerous lately, and that is the 7th inning on. All 5 of his most recent home runs, his last 5 home runs, have come in the 7th inning or later. Slow curveball, and he's able to slip it past Billy. 1-2.
Danks, he falls off hard to the third base side. And there's a little bit of deception to that when he's throwing his changeup.
Didn't quite get it on the barrel. Viciedo brings it down, 2 away in the 6th.
I don't think they're picking the ball up very well off of Danks. See how hard he falls off? Those pitches were all right around that plate, but none of them on the inner half.
So Alex with 2 outs, nobody on. Fastball, strike 1. Alex has popped to first and grounded out to short. One and 1.
Pedro Gafal has got him closer to the plate, thinking that he can reach the outside part.
Up the middle into center field with 2 outs.
That's the kind of swing right there that that Grifol would like to see him do more of, and that's just use your hands, not as much arms. Watch him just going to take his hands right to the ball there. See how short that swing was? That's the swing they need from Alex. It's right to the ball, short, and it wasn't a big old swing and miss swing. You know, it wasn't an uppercut where he's trying to lift everything. That was right to the ball. Nice stroke.
So here's Sal. He homered in the Detroit series, and it had been a while for him, and Danks gets him on a one-hopper. Gillespie goes to second, and that is the inning. So make it 6 scoreless innings for John Danks as Chicago leads 2-0. By Thoroughbred Ford. For the best deals on new Ford cars and trucks, visit thoroughbredford.com. And by 5 Hour Energy Shots. White Sox got a home run from Gordon Beckham in the first inning and a run on a pass ball in the second, and that's it. And Irvin Santana was able to go 6 innings, so another quality start for him, but over 110 pitches. So our first Chevy call to the bullpen comes in the 7th as Luke Hochhaver comes on for the lower third of the White Sox order.
Okay, it really hasn't been pitching, and that's been the thing most of the year. The offense is being tamed by Danks.
The offense has been better in the second half, but they're going through a bit of a lull right now. Royals have lost 5 of their last 7 games, and they only scored 14 runs. Or let me take that back, 16 runs over that stretch. And the big item has been something that plagued them earlier in the year, and that is hitting with runners in scoring position.
Yeah, you're right. Early in the season, it was really hard to generate any offense, and it's been that way since.
Gillespie has lined to right and flied to center.
I must say, last 3 weeks, they haven't been hitting with anybody on. They've been getting guys on, but they can't get them home. And the pitching's held on the opponents, so they've been able to win a few of those games. But you've got to have timely hits.
And some will say, and I don't mean this as a criticism, but I think it's the truth, those who diminish the importance of hitting with runners in scoring position didn't play. They don't realize the heat of the moment and the tension of the situation when there are runners on base, as that dinged Salvador Perez. And the thinking that, well, a hitter shouldn't be any different if he comes up with 2 outs and nobody on in the second inning, as opposed to runners at second and third and 2 outs in the 8th inning. I mean, in theory, If you're hitting off a batting tee, yeah, you shouldn't be a different hitter. But the emotion of the game, it's a completely different experience.
No
and
question.
The best come through in those situations. Where are you when your team needs you the most?
Well, this year, Hoach has been there for him in the bullpen. And has been putting him in the 8th inning, some meaningful situations because of the success he's had.
As a follow-up to that thought, I guess, it'd be like in basketball. And someone could say, well, there's no difference in hitting a free throw down by 1 with no time on the clock and the crowd's going nuts. There's no difference between that and your first free throw in the first half when it's a 3-3 game. There's a huge difference, even though it's the same act.
You're right.
Back our way.
Partner, give it up, man. That was beautiful. Right to him. 1 for 1. We talked about it today. We hadn't had a ball up here all year.
And I said, I don't need a ball up here. Now that I was defending myself more than anything else.
That was outstanding, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, right to you. We talked about today. Nice play, Ryan. That fired me up. Now he's in the game.
See, Hud wants the foul balls. And
I love it. And fans do too, though, Ryan. They all love it. Everybody wants to get in the game. But you got in the game tonight. Now, don't you feel pretty good about that?
It won't be in the box score tomorrow, but.
No, it won't. Oh, nice play, right? You got it.
And now Gillespie walks.
Now, was that the Denny rule?
Well, the Denny rule has 2 components to it. And we're talking about the Denny Matthews rule of trajectory. And Denny, and there he is down there, tuning in. Denny's a big fan of Fox Sports Kansas City, so he put his headphones on very quickly and his glasses. Denny's rule is if the ball is on its way down, that's a good trajectory, and you can go for it. If the ball is still coming up, bad trajectory. But there's an asterisk next to that too, and that is when the ball's coming right at your lips, you really don't have time to decide whether it's a good or bad trajectory. You got to put your hands up.
I totally agree. That fan agrees with you too. He just missed. No, but Ryan, that ball came to you and it was just starting its way down.
Yeah.
And you stood up calmly and just caught that like we watched these other people do it. Way to go. I give you a 10 on that.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Oh, and 2 on Viciedo.
Everyone has their own method, but most of the time when you're in the stands, that ball's coming down. So it's an easy catch, you would think. Oh, and he tried his hat and it hit his buddy. And he lost the ball. Super
That
slow.
one was not the hat's fault.
No.
You don't blame the hat with that one.
He totally whiffed it.
Viciedo has reached with a fielder's choice, and he has walked. One and 2. Viciedo just 3 for his last 25. He has Gillespie at first. And another foul ball. White Sox last year were 4th in the league in runs scored. They were 3rd in the league in home runs. This year they are last in the league in runs scored, and they are 13th in home runs. When was the last time the Chicago White Sox were 13th in the league in home runs? They've had a long run of big home run seasons.
Yeah, And a great launching pad.
Down to first. Right idea. I think a throw on the bag may have gotten Gillespie.
Yeah, that ballpark there, ball flies out. Surprising. Now look at Salvi. Really quick with the catch and throw. And typically he puts that ball right on the bag, but because it wasn't, couldn't get it.
Another foul ball.
Well, you know, Hochevar, Irvin Santana, guys that throw hard. They throw, you know, mid-90s. If that ball's not exactly where that hitter wants it, he's still going to take a swing at it, but he's going to foul him off. Usually you see those with hard throwers. And guys like Bruce Chin, you see guys pop it up and put it in play, but they can't hit it with authority.
Still alive.
Salvi's getting beat up a little bit tonight. Taking one off the mask, one off the finger.
Got him with a fastball at 95. One down in the seventh.
Hey, you don't give in. Just because the guy's fouling off, you know, you still got to go with what got you here. That big fastball of his. Four-seamer had a little bit of movement on it, too. Viciedo pulled off.
All that work and a strikeout.
Yep.
And now Josh Fegley, number 9 hitter and catcher. He is hitless in 2 trips, including a strikeout. Both of those at bats against Irvin Santana. Chance for 2. And the Royals turn it. Escobar gets Hosmer. So Hochevar faces only 3 in the 7th. Stretch time at Kauffman Stadium. Royals down 2-0. Here's tonight's Vatterett College game summary. It's still 2-0 Chicago, and that's been our score since the second inning. After Gordon Beckham homered in the first, Paul Konerko scored on a pass ball in the second, and because of that, of Irvin Santana's 2 runs allowed, only 1 was earned. But John Danks has pitched 6 scoreless innings tonight. Royals have 6 hits, so they've out-hit the White Sox 6-4. Justin Maxwell grounds to third. Gillespie has been busy. That's always a sign that a left-hand pitcher is doing his job when the left side of the infield is getting a lot of ground balls, and that's been the case tonight.
Yeah, and you can tell yourself that if you're playing on the left side with a lefty going, with that ball coming, and most lineups are stacked with righties, you're going to get a lot of action. And it's been interesting to see the Royals swinging a lot of first ball pitches from Danks. It's getting late in the game. They want to get him out of there, but his pitch count is manageable.
White Sox are having some trouble with the bullpen phone. And so somebody yelled at Alexei Ramirez, White Sox shortstop. He yelled to Abisail Garcia, the right fielder, who then yelled out to the bullpen. There we go. Now it's ringing. Home plate umpire Ron Kolpa went over to the Royals dugout.
So you probably wonder, well, what did they do before phones? Well, every guy had his own physique, and usually the pitching coach would go either he's tall, or let's get the guy who's a little bit bigger, or let's get the guy that throws sidearm and make a sidearm angle motion. You know, there was different. Every guy had his own little body language sign before phones.
Bonifacio has walked and grounded out to second.
But it's
when the phone does work, I mean, you can hear it ringing in Olathe, that high-pitched squeaking or that screech out there. 2-1. There's one phone right there, so that if things change, and bullpen coach Bobby Thigpen. There's Gillespie again throwing out Bonifacio 2 down on a nice play. So you have the one phone where everybody sits with nobody warming up. And then when they begin to warm up, there's one phone in the corner next to the S of Sprint up on the wall. And then once they get warmed up, the bullpen coach is standing there. And if there's a change, well, he doesn't have to run and go to the other phone. Those would be the modern conveniences of a major league bullpen. And a strike to Alcides Escobar. Escobar is struck out. He's also lined to left. Off the end of the bat, a 7-pitch inning. So John Danks has thrown 7 scoreless innings with just 93 pitches as the White Sox continue to lead 2-0. Looks like he's broken a sweat. John Danks, 7 scoreless innings, holding the Royals a no-run, 6 hits. So a 2-0 Chicago lead as we go to the 8th inning, and the Royals will be bringing on their second relief pitcher of the night. All right, 59% say that the Angels are the American League team that's having the most disappointing year. So not even close compared to the Blue Jays and the White Sox.
Well, I can agree with him. It's a big hang with him. No sympathy cards being sent to any of those teams.
Chevy called to the bullpen, Kelvin Herrera. After Luke Hochevar pitched a scoreless 7th, Irvin Santana gave up 2 runs in the 6th. 1 run was unearned. And Herrera will get the top of the order. Alejandro De Aza is 0 for 3, and twice he is fouled out on good plays by third baseman Jamie Carroll. One play, Carroll running up the line and into foul ground, made the play on the run, a very difficult play. Second time reaching over the railing of the dugout suite. And another pop up. Escobar calls off Getz. 1 down in the 8th inning. De Aza is 0 for 4.
Okay, Kelvin. See if that fastball's working. Upper 90s, straight changeup, and nice curve.
One strike on Beckham. He homered with 1 out in the 1st inning. Overall, he's 1 for 3. Mentioned it early in the broadcast that while the White Sox are in last place and 25 games under 500, they're on a little bit of a streak. Trying to finish strong. They took 3 out of 4 at Minnesota, and they won the last 3. They have won 9 of their last 15 games. You know, they're at 500 at the end of May and really hit the skids after that. After finishing with 85 wins last year, one of the surprise American League teams. Didn't quite make the playoffs, though.
Nope. Fell just a little bit short, and we talked about earlier the Royals were a big reason for that.
Off the end of the bat again. And again, Escobar says, I'll take it, and he does. 2 down. Remember, subscribe to MLB.tv today, and you can watch every out-of-market game live online in HD. And features include choice of home and away broadcasts, DVR functionality, and multi-game viewing options. 1 hop to Carroll. Alexei Ramirez is 0 for 4. A very quick inning for Kelvin Herrera. Bottom of the 8th, Royals down 2-0.
Right now, 6-3 at Comerica. Toronto loses both games of a doubleheader. New York winning the one earlier today. They also just won tonight as we kick off here in the 8th inning. Other scores to take a look at. Houston one better than Texas right now. LA just underway with Cleveland, and Oakland on top of Seattle 3-0 at the Coliseum in the first inning. Our Mazda game break takes us to the second of that doubleheader between the Yankees and the Blue Jays. It is the 9th, and that is Jason Nix with the walk-off. And they take it by the final of 3-2. So a sweep of the doubleheader for the Yankees, guys.
All right, Joel, and Chris Getz just slaps it past the third baseman Gillespie, but the White Sox are playing him the other way. So Viciedo holds him to a single. And the Royals, for just the second time all night, have the leadoff man on. That's Getz' second hit.
Makes him 5 for 7 lifetime off of Danks. I mean, he really comes up when this guy pitches. He's hit the ball hard all 3 times up. The one out he did make, he lined out to the second baseman. So Getsy, he's got a good game going on here now. They got to get some action going. Got to get into scoring position. Got a pretty good move. That'll help keep him close.
7 hits for the Royals, and Danks has walked 1, so 8 base runners, but only 2 have advanced beyond first base.
Yeah, there it is.
Getz is picked off.
You know, he showed him just a basic move first, and then he put his A move on Getsy. And A moves usually are done with the head. See how he's got his head pointing home, and the next thing you know, gets his toast. He's burnt. Yeah, that hurt. Get a runner on like that with some speed, and then, but you know, credit Danks. It's a heck of a move. Okay, see his head, see how he's looking home? And runner can't tell right there whether he's going to home or first. That's a borderline balk, I'm going to tell you. And a lot of hitters and runners will tell you that's a balk move.
How about that hop? And Ramirez stays with it. By the way, they called that caught stealing because Getz was making a move towards second base. So 2 down, nobody on. And that means Hosmer comes up with the tying run on deck instead of being the tying run. So Danks is 1 out away from tying a season high with 8 innings.
Well, you know, Chris Getz, he's got to know John Danks' move. You know, he's a member of the White Sox when Danks was there. And I'm sure that Getsy saw him pick off a few.
Right to Ramirez. So 7 pitches, and he has his 8 innings. And now to the 9th, still 2-0 Chicago. Enjoying the work of his brother. Back from shoulder surgery, which wiped out most of his season last year. He's tied a season high with 8 innings. And he just did go over 100 pitches last inning. A 7-pitch 7th and a 7-pitch 8th. So plenty of reasons to smile as Aaron Crow will pitch the top of the 9th and become the 4th Royals pitcher tonight.
Yeah, you know, the Royals have got 7 hits off of him. But if you look at him, he's very happy, and he should. He's lost his last 3 straight starts, so he's feeling better. He pitched pretty good. I mean, he was hitting his spots. I think that pickoff to Chris Getz there, that put an exclamation point on his outing.
Kind of remind you of James Shields' start against the White Sox here. Remember that 1-0 game, and his final out in the 8th was a pickoff. He picked off Dwayne Wise.
That's right.
Adam Dunn is 0 for 3. All of those at-bats against Santana. Irvin gave up 2 runs in 6 innings. 1 run was unearned. Hochevar pitched a scoreless 7th. Herrera a scoreless 8th. And now Crow. Easy play for Hosmer. He'll take it himself. And there's 1 away in the 9th. And now Crow will get Paul Konerko. Konerko doubled leading off the 2nd and then scored on a very bizarre play. He scored on a pass ball after the ball tore through the signage board behind home plate. Vinyl or canvas signage board back there. And that was the 2nd run of the game back in the 2nd inning, and nobody has scored since.
Yeah, and the way those breaks were going early for the Royals, I could tell it just was not a game that was going to work out yet. You've still got a chance, but Crow has to hold him.
Aaron Crow's last outing was on Saturday night in Detroit when he gave up the walk-off home run to Miguel Cabrera on a 97-mile-an-hour fastball away. Escobar throws out Konerko, 2 down in the 9th. Remember, you can vote for the Royals Player of the Month, sponsored by Majestic and Rally House. Vote at Rally House stores and get a chance to go on field and meet the winning player. And now Garcia, who has a 2-hit game. So it appears that Addison Reed is getting ready for the bottom of the 9th inning. Garcia has a 3-hit game. He's on with 2 outs. And the Royals will have Butler, Gordon, and Perez in the bottom of the 9th. Here's Jeff Keppinger, the former Royal, and he was in the starting lineup and scratched because of low back tightness, sitting in front of John and Jordan Danks. And his replacement was Connor Gillespie, former Wichita State Shocker. Outside for ball 1.
You know, Gillespie, he's shown Robin Ventura that he can be their everyday third baseman next year. And that's another thing about what these guys are doing when you're out of the race. You're auditioning for another job. You have pride in your ability. And Gillespie, he's a guy that's shown that he could play some third this year.
At Millard High School in Omaha, and a state champion his senior year. His team went 35-0. From there to Wichita State, and from Wichita State to the Giants. First round supplemental pick back in 2008. Three and 0. Some guys get that label as a utility infielder, and that was the plan for Gillespie this year, but Beckham goes down with a broken wrist very early in the season, so Keppinger, who was going to play third, slides over to second. And then when Beckham came back, there was no reason to take Gillespie out of the lineup. And now Crow in a little bit of trouble. With 2 outs, he gives up a single and a walk.
But you know what, though, Ryan? When you have the ability to play multiple positions, that you're going to find a job somewhere. But really, to shake that label you were talking about, you've got to be able to produce, and you got to hit. Now, he's looked good defensively, Gillespie, but the average, looking at his average and his power numbers, for an everyday third baseman, probably not. But what I'm trying to say is he's done a nice job filling in, and he's opened some eyes.
Line to left. Alex racing back. He runs it down and keeps it a 2-0 game.
That was beautiful. Great timing.
Alex will bat in the bottom of the 9th. Billy Butler first. Then Alex. Salvador Perez will follow. Royals down 2-0 to the bottom of the 9th. Well, he pointed that out very early on, that good against the Royals and especially good here. And he's carried that over and now hands the ball to Addison Reed.
I didn't think it would happen. I thought our offense was going to come out on him, but hey, look, you just never know in baseball, especially before the game starts. Piazza moves over to left field. Addison Reed, he's their closer. Mid-90s fastball, slider, changeup. He'll cut that fastball a little bit.
Reed has 4 saves this year against the Royals. And while they respect him, they don't fear him because his ERA is almost 8 in his career against KC.
They've had some good innings hitting off him. I remember seeing now Billy. That's the way he started. That makes him 2 for 8 lifetime. See a pinch runner. It's Gerard Dyson. So Billy waits for a good opportunity to get his first hit of the night. His only hit. Dyson's going to pinch run, and he sees no fear from any pitcher or anything. He likes to just go. Most closers don't really care about the runners. They focus on the hitter because the hitter's the one who can hurt you.
And especially in a 2-run game right here. Fegley will throw down there, and Ramirez keeps it from going into center field. But back to your point, biggest concern right now is the guy at the plate. Dyson can score. Dyson could steal second, steal third, and steal home, and it's still a 1-run game.
That's right. Good takeaway. Knew he'd be going early.
Now, you and I didn't work together in Detroit, but I am assuming now Addison Reed will not treat Gerard Dyson like Joaquin Benoit treated Salvador Perez.
Yeah.
That game when Perez was at second base.
That was unbelievable. Come on.
Talk about
drama.
Pitching to the situation.
Yeah, and trying to add a little drama when the drama wasn't even there.
Fegley makes the play. Boy, I tell you, when Alex is on, that's a ball he hits into the right field bullpen. That was a slider that stayed out over the plate. So Dyson at second, 1 down.
Unfortunately, Alex is off.
Fegley might be going out there to say that exact thing. Okay, we got the out. That might not have been Alex Gordon at his best. Let's make that the last slider you throw like that.
Yeah, it was elevated.
Billy Butler with a leadoff single. Dyson ran for him and stole second. And now Salvador Perez, who's 1 for 3 and one of the best in the league with runners in scoring position. That's more what Reed was looking for with his slider. He didn't get the call from Ron Kopa. Ball 1.
Salvi's 1 for 6 lifetime off of Reed.
One and one.
And Reed throws across his body, so there's a little bit of deception at least to a righty.
Addison Reed last year with the White Sox rookie record for saves. He had 29, but his earned run average was almost 5. Another pop-up. And Beckham makes the play, 2 down. Addison Reed out of San Diego State, where he played with Steven Strasburg, and the Washington Nationals will be in over the weekend, but the Royals, as it's lined up right now, will not see Steven Strasburg. Maxwell doubled in the 4th inning. Royals have 8 hits, and Danks walked 1 in his 8 innings, so 9 runners. And Dyson is just the 3rd all night to get to second base. Fastball right in there. The only extra base hit tonight for the Royals was Maxwell's double in the 4th.
Well, Maxwell shoots one out of here and ties it up. He's got the ability.
1-1.
Reed's given up 1 home run all year to a right-handed batter. .242 average.
One and two.
Reed's keeping it on the outer half. That's for sure. He's respecting the power that Maxwell does have. Out over the middle of the plate, especially.
That'll do it. So the Chicago White Sox snap a 4-game losing streak against the Royals. And all they needed was 2 runs tonight. Well, they only needed 1 run because of the pitching of John Danks. Ties a season high with 8 innings. And tonight it's 8 scoreless innings. He's our forward player of the game.
Didn't think he could do it, but he did. Give your credit, tip your hat. He was good. Now he missed. Not very often. He was hitting his spots down and away, especially. His slider was a good pitch. His changeup worked. And he got ahead of guys.
And John Danks is 6-0 now in his career against the Royals. It's his first win in his last 9 starts. So the White Sox have won 4 in a row. They take game 1 2-0. We'll be right back.